So 2 games for NBC, one on Peacock, one on NBC. We'll get into our game last, but let's start with East Carolina and number 2 Michigan. That is Saturday noon on Peacock. Mike Tirico and Chris Sims will be on the call for that one. The main thing that we've heard for the last couple of weeks, of course, is the Jim Harbaugh suspension stuff. He won't coach the first 3 games. This one is going to be coached by Jesse Minter, their defensive coordinator, as Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator, will not be available for this game as well. So that's a wrinkle, but look, it's a Michigan team that's so much better in terms of their top-end talent than what East Carolina is going to provide. We know that J.J. McCarthy is back after a highly successful year. Blake Corum is back after what looked like a potential Heisman campaign cut short at the end of last year. It's pretty clear, and a lot of people have said that this could be Jim Harbaugh's most talented Michigan team that he's had. It's pretty clear that it's title or bust, or at minimum get to the college football playoff national championship game or bust. They've won the Big Ten. They've broken through on that one, but what are you seeing in terms of the overall team in Michigan and kind of how they can look throughout this season?
Well, I agree. I think this is probably Jim's most talented roster that he's had since he's been at Michigan. Now they've tasted the playoffs the last 2 years, but did not play well in the semifinal games. I did the game against TCU last year. Nobody thought Michigan was going to lose that game, particularly nobody in maize and blue. And they made too many mistakes. They had 2 pick sixes. They had penalties. They had turnovers, stuff they hadn't done all year on their run to the Big Ten championship that they had back to back. So I think now you're right. I think they're looking at it. Okay, not only do we want to beat Ohio State again in Ann Arbor and make it 3 in a row there, which they have not had in a long time, get back to the playoffs, and now this time win a game in the playoff and make it to the national championship game. So I think anything less than that will be a disappointment. Unlike Ohio State, who's still trying to decide who their quarterback is, unlike Penn State, who is breaking in a new quarterback in Drew Aller, and some other teams in the West, that's a new system, new coach, new quarterback. Michigan has a proven guy. There's 2 teams in the Big Ten that have a proven guy playing quarterback. Maryland with Tagovailoa and J.J. McCarthy at Michigan, who got better and better as the year went on last year. So, he's a very talented kid, a very confident kid. He gives them the ability to extend plays and do things on third down. And then also, you mentioned Blake Corum. The combination of Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards is as good of a running back duo as there is in college football. For another year, they restocked their offensive line through the transfer portal. They brought in some guys that'll play right away. This is a team that won the Joe Moore Award as the top offensive line 2 years in a row. So they're still going to be able to play their style of football defensively. Second year for Jesse Minter as a defensive coordinator. They got a lot of talent and speed on the defense. My biggest question about Michigan, and really as it pertains to them being a national championship, capable of winning a national championship, what about their wide receiver position? Do they have some guys who can step up? I don't see on the roster elite level players at wide receiver like you see at Ohio State, like you've seen at Alabama over the last several years. So that to me is the one question mark. Yes, they can run the ball. Yes, they've got tight ends. Yes, they've got running backs and a talented quarterback. But what about the wide receivers and guys that can put the fear of God in you in terms of running down the field? Ohio State has that. Michigan doesn't, I don't think, right now.